Close your eyes for a moment and listen to the silence that lives inside you. Beneath the noise, beneath the chaos, there is a quiet place that is untouched by doubt. This is where your real power lies. Too many people walk through life thinking their problems are stronger than they are. Too many people believe that the pain they feel inside defines them. But what bothers you inside is not greater than the life force that brought you here. You are bigger than what is trying to break you from within. When the storm rises inside, do not run from it. Sit with it, breathe, feel the air enter and leave your body. With every breath, you become aware of the space between you and the problem. You are not the anger. You are not the fear. You are the one watching them. As soon as you begin to watch, you take back your power. This awareness is like standing on a mountain while the clouds pass below. The mountain does not move, it does not panic, it simply stands. In the same way, your true self can stand unmoved. Many times you have already proven you are stronger than you think. Look at the moments you thought you could not continue, but you did. Look at the days you felt empty but still showed up. These memories are evidence. When you recognize them, your confidence grows like a seed touched by rain. You do not have to force strength. Strength is already in you waiting to be called. Every challenge, every doubt, every whisper that says you are not enough is only an invitation to rise higher. Remember, your inner voice can be a prison or a path. The more you believe the voice that says you are small, the smaller you feel. But the moment you choose to see the truth, the voice begins to lose its hold. Truth is that your spirit is vast. Truth is that the fears inside are only shadows. Shadows cannot harm you when you face them with light. When you step toward the things you are afraid of, they shrink. When you accept the pain without judging it, it begins to heal. Most people live believing their thoughts and emotions are who they are. They wake up and immediately feel the rush of yesterday's worries, today's tasks, and tomorrow's fears. They identify with every feeling, every passing mood, and every story in their heads as though it defines them completely. But the truth is far more powerful than that. You are not your thoughts, and you are not your emotions. You are the one who notices them. This is the foundation of your freedom. When you begin to see this difference, you stop shrinking yourself down to whatever is happening inside you. You realize that your real self is constant, unshaken, and far more expansive than any temporary experience passing through your mind. Think of the sky and the clouds. The clouds drift by in different shapes and moods, sometimes dark and heavy, sometimes light and soft, sometimes almost invisible. But the sky remains untouched. The sky is not threatened by the storms or the shadows. In the same way, your awareness is like the sky, vast and open, and your thoughts and emotions are like clouds. They may seem overwhelming when you are caught inside them, but once you step back and see them for what they are, you recognize they cannot harm your true nature. The moment you experience this shift, you begin to feel a deep sense of peace that does not depend on circumstances. It takes practice to stop believing every thought that comes to mind. When anger rises, it tries to convince you that you are anger. When fear arrives, it whispers that you are weak. When sadness settles, it says you are lost. But these are only visitors, temporary guests passing through the house of your awareness. You are the host. The host does not become the guest. The host remains steady regardless of who walks through the door. When you practice seeing thoughts and emotions as passing guests, you gain a freedom that many people never experience. This freedom allows you to respond rather than react. It allows you to see the bigger picture, even when pain feels close. Your true self existed long before any current problem and will exist long after it passes. It is not defined by a single moment, a single mistake, or a single feeling. This understanding gives you the courage to stop fighting yourself. Fighting thoughts only makes them stronger. Watching them with calm presence makes them dissolve. The more you practice this, the more you see how temporary all mental states are. What felt unbearable yesterday can feel like a faint echo today. What scares you now may be a distant memory in a year. Yet through all this change, something inside you remains the same. Quiet, strong, aware. That is you. When you start trusting this deeper self, you also begin to find strength in stillness. You stop chasing constant distraction. You stop running from uncomfortable feelings. Instead, you breathe and allow them to be. You give space to whatever is present without identifying with it. This is not passive, it is powerful. It is the power of knowing that storms come and go, but the mountain stands. And you are the mountain, not the storm. This realization changes how you live every day. Suddenly you are not afraid of emotions anymore. You are not controlled by them. You respect them, but you are not defined by them. This does not mean you stop feeling or caring. It means you experience everything with greater freedom. Joy becomes brighter because you are not clinging to it. Pain becomes lighter because you are not resisting it. Even fear loses its grip because you see it as just another passing state. From this position of awareness, you begin to live with more clarity, more compassion, and more power. You become bigger than your inner world of shifting moods. You start to understand that life's depth is in your awareness, not in the stories your mind tells you. Remember, recognizing that thoughts and emotions are temporary does not make them disappear instantly, but it gives you the space to handle them skillfully. This space is everything. It is the difference between drowning in a wave and surfing it. The wave may still be high, but you now know how to ride it. You see the distance between who you are and what you experience. This distance is your strength. This is where resilience lives. And this is why you are bigger than what is bothering you inside. Every challenge that rises within you is not a sign of weakness, but a hidden doorway to strength you may have never known existed. Life has a way of placing obstacles not only in front of you, but also inside you. Doubts, fears, old memories, limiting beliefs, and painful emotions. These inner struggles are not punishments, they are signals calling you to grow. When you begin to see your inner challenges as invitations instead of enemies, your entire perspective shifts. You stop running from discomfort and instead meet it with curiosity and courage. You realize that what feels like a heavy burden is often a disguised lesson waiting to reveal your resilience. Think back to moments when life tested you. At the time, you may have felt overwhelmed or even broken. Yet from those same experiences you gained strength, patience, or wisdom. The fire that once burned you also forged you. Inner challenges work in exactly the same way. They push you to question old patterns, to step beyond old limitations, and to discover qualities you did not know you had. When fear rises, it is pointing to an area where courage wants to be born. When self-doubt surfaces, it is revealing where self-trust can grow. When frustration consumes you, it is signaling where patience and focus can take root. Every inner obstacle, no matter how uncomfortable, holds the seed of your next level of growth. The shift happens when you stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" and begin asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" This single change in approach gives you back your power. You no longer feel like a victim of your inner storms. You start to become a student of them. With this attitude, you enter a training ground far more powerful than any classroom. Life itself becomes your teacher. Each time you face the same emotion with a little more patience, a little more awareness, you build an invisible muscle. Just as the body becomes stronger by lifting weights, the spirit becomes stronger by lifting and holding space for your inner struggles. Facing inner challenges does not mean you must fight yourself. It means you meet what rises inside you with presence instead of panic. Presence is like light shining on a shadow. The shadow may still appear, but it loses its power over you. You start to see that your reactions are not inevitable. You always have a choice. Even in the middle of chaos, you can pause, breathe, and ask yourself who you want to be in that moment. That small space between reaction and response is where growth happens. Over time, you learn to respond from strength rather than from fear. It is important to remember that every great figure who has inspired the world faced tremendous inner battles. They were not free of doubt or pain. They simply learned to use their challenges as fuel. In the same way, your doubts and fears can become stepping stones. The very experiences you think will break you can be the ones that reveal how unbreakable you really are. What was once an inner wound can become a source of empathy. What was once a crippling fear can become a reason to develop extraordinary courage. What was once anger can be transformed into focused action. This approach also builds compassion for yourself. When you see challenges as invitations to grow, you stop judging yourself harshly for having them. You no longer see fear or doubt as personal failures. Instead, you treat them as signals, as part of the human experience. This self-compassion opens your heart and makes it easier to rise. You become more patient with your own process. You stop expecting instant change and instead respect the journey of becoming. This mindset not only helps you deal with your own struggles, but also makes you more understanding of others. You realize that everyone is facing their own invisible battles, and this awareness deepens your connection to the world. At some point, you will notice that your inner challenges are not shrinking, but your relationship to them is changing. They no longer feel like walls, but like gateways. You find yourself calmer in the face of things that used to shake you. This is a clear sign of your growth. Your capacity expands. Your confidence builds. You begin to walk with a quiet strength, knowing you have been tested and that testing has revealed your deeper self. This is not a dramatic transformation that happens overnight, but a gradual awakening, like dawn slowly turning into daylight. So when something rises within you that feels too heavy to carry, remember this truth. It is not there to crush you but to call you. It is a challenge designed to awaken qualities you have not yet discovered. Every inner struggle contains a lesson, and every lesson strengthens the foundation of who you are becoming. In seeing your challenges this way, you no longer shrink in fear, but expand in awareness, courage, and resilience. This is how you become bigger than what is bothering you inside. When inner storms rise, the first instinct for most people is to resist or run away. Thoughts race, emotions build, and soon it feels as if the storm is everything, as if you are trapped within it. But the moment you choose to observe rather than fight, the entire experience changes. Inner storms lose their power when you look at them without fear or judgment. It is like turning on a light in a dark room. Suddenly what seemed threatening is simply seen for what it is. This act of observing with awareness creates a distance between you and the turmoil, and in that space your strength begins to reveal itself. Your thoughts and emotions are movements, not monuments. They move like waves on an ocean. They surge, they crash, they dissolve, and then they rise again. But the ocean itself remains vast and deep, unaffected at its core. You are that ocean. When you forget this, the waves feel like they will drown you. When you remember it, you watch them rise and fall without losing your center. The waves may still be powerful, but you are no longer identified with them. You begin to see fear as fear, sadness as sadness, anger as anger, not as definitions of who you are, but as passing energies. This is the beginning of freedom. To practice this, start with your breath. The breath anchors you in the present moment. As you breathe in deeply and slowly exhale, notice the thoughts passing through your mind like clouds. Notice the emotions moving through your body like the wind. Do not label them good or bad. Simply see them. As you keep observing, you find that the storm has edges, it has a rhythm, and it cannot stay forever. Like every natural phenomenon, it passes. Your job is not to fight or to hold it down, but to remain steady as it moves through you. This steadiness is not forced. It arises naturally from presence. Judgment feeds the storm. Fear strengthens it. When you judge yourself for feeling anger, the anger deepens. When you fear your own sadness, it becomes heavier. But when you bring an open awareness, like a clear mirror reflecting what is, the emotion loses its intensity. This is not about ignoring your feelings or pretending they are not there. It is about welcoming them into awareness without clinging or pushing away. When you do this, you are practicing one of the most powerful forms of inner training. It is a training of perception, patience, and strength. This ability to observe your inner storms without fear also brings clarity. In the middle of emotional chaos, decisions made from panic or desperation are often unwise. But when you pause and simply notice what is happening, clarity emerges. You can see the difference between what is real and what is a passing reaction. This clarity gives you the power to respond rather than react. Instead of being swept away by anger, you can choose patience. Instead of being frozen by fear, you can choose courage. Instead of sinking into despair, you can choose to breathe and wait for the moment to pass. Remember how a mountain stands while winds rage around it. The mountain does not resist the wind, nor does it chase it away. It simply stands. In the same way, when you allow your inner storms to come and go while remaining rooted in your awareness, you become like the mountain. This does not mean life will never shake you, but it does mean you no longer mistake the shaking for your identity. You realize you are the ground beneath the movement, not the movement itself. This realization builds a quiet confidence that carries into every part of your life. Over time, this practice transforms your relationship with discomfort. You stop seeing pain or fear as enemies. You begin to see them as messengers, as waves delivering lessons. And because you are not running from them, you gather their lessons with greater ease. Your emotional landscape becomes more open and spacious. Even when storms arise, they feel less personal, less threatening. You are no longer a small boat tossed about. You are the ocean holding the waves. This inner shift changes how you walk, speak, and relate to others. People around you sense your steadiness, and it inspires them to find their own. Do not underestimate how powerful it is to simply observe with a calm mind. This is not passive, it is an active discipline. It requires courage to sit with what is uncomfortable, to face your own shadows, to breathe while the storm howls. But each time you do it, the storm weakens its hold. Each time you return to awareness, your roots grow deeper. You realize that no matter what is happening inside, your core remains intact. This is the unshakable strength that has been waiting within you all along. And this is why, even in the face of your fiercest inner storms, you are bigger than what is bothering you inside. Think back to the moments in your life when you were convinced you could not go on, yet you still found a way forward. Remember the mornings you woke up feeling empty, but still stood up, dressed, and faced the world. Recall the nights when tears felt endless, but somewhere within you a quiet will kept you moving. These are not small moments. They are proof. They show that even in your weakest times you carried a hidden strength. They reveal that the power to endure has always lived inside you, waiting for you to notice it. Your past victories are not distant memories. They are reminders that you have already overcome, already survived, already grown stronger than your struggles. When life presses down on you, it is easy to forget who you have been and what you have achieved. The mind tends to focus on the current storm and overlook the storms you have already weathered. But if you pause and look back with honesty, you will see a trail of endurance behind you. You will see how many times you rose when it would have been easier to give up. Every time you were knocked down and chose to rise again, you were planting seeds of resilience. Those seeds grow into the confidence you need today. They whisper to you, reminding you that no matter what you face now, you have faced difficulty before and you can do it again. Your past victories are not about ego or boasting, they are about recognition. Recognition that you are more capable than your mind tells you in moments of fear. Recognition that strength does not appear suddenly, but is built quietly through every challenge endured. When you acknowledge your own history of perseverance, you change the way you approach current struggles. Instead of saying, "I can't handle this," you begin to say, "I have handled things before, and I will handle this as well." That subtle shift in self-talk can be enough to unlock the courage you need to act, to breathe, to move forward one step at a time. Consider the patterns of growth in nature. A tree does not grow strong overnight. It weathers wind, rain, and changing seasons. Each year it lays down rings of strength beneath its bark, invisible to the eye but vital to its survival. You are like that tree. Each challenge you have faced has been a season shaping your inner rings. Even when you felt weak, you were building depth. Even when you felt lost, you were expanding your capacity. This understanding turns pain into purpose. It allows you to see your scars not as signs of defeat, but as evidence of your journey and your resilience. When you stand in front of a new difficulty, bring your past victories to mind as anchors. Remember the emotions you once thought would never end but did. Remember the fears that once felt unshakable but dissolved. Each memory becomes a stone under your feet, a foundation of strength. You begin to trust yourself more. You begin to realize that what you are feeling now, however intense, is temporary, just like before. You discover a kind of quiet bravery that does not need to shout. It simply stands rooted in your own lived truth. This practice of recalling your victories also softens the harshness of self-doubt. Many people walk through life forgetting their own power, constantly measuring themselves against others, constantly believing they are behind. But when you take time to see how far you have come, comparison loses its grip. You start to value your unique path. You stop judging your pace and start respecting your resilience. This respect feeds self-confidence, and self-confidence feeds action. It becomes a cycle of growth that is rooted in reality, not wishful thinking. Your past victories are also a bridge to compassion. Knowing how hard it has been for you at times helps you understand how hard it might be for others. This understanding makes you stronger, not softer. Strength without compassion can become cold. Compassion without strength can become fragile. But when you hold both, you become balanced. You recognize the struggle in others, and you know it does not define them, just as your struggles do not define you. This balance of strength and compassion becomes a quiet force guiding your decisions and your presence in the world. In the end, every difficulty you have already overcome is a gift you can draw upon now. They are not chains tying you to the past. They are fuel for your current and future self. When you feel lost, think of the times you found your way. When you feel weak, think of the times you rose stronger than before. This is not pretending or denying the difficulty you face. It is remembering who you really are beneath the noise of doubt. And when you remember, the fear shrinks, the weight lifts, and you step forward knowing you are bigger than what is bothering you inside. Self-awareness is the turning point where you begin to reclaim the power you thought you had lost. It is the light that shines through the fog of confusion and pain. Without awareness, you are swept along by every passing thought, every sudden emotion, every whisper of doubt. With awareness, you see clearly what is happening inside you, and you begin to choose your response instead of being pulled like a leaf in the wind. This is why self-awareness is the gateway to inner strength. The moment you can name what you are feeling, the moment you can witness your own reactions, you stop being controlled by them. You become the observer rather than the captive. You create space between the stimulus and your response, and that space is where power grows. In that space you begin to see patterns. You notice that certain fears show up again and again. You notice the same thoughts repeating in cycles. The same emotions appearing at predictable moments. Without awareness, these patterns feel like fate. With awareness, they become opportunities. You are no longer a character trapped in a story you did not write. You are now the author who can edit the script. This is not about suppressing what you feel, but about understanding it deeply. When you understand the roots of your reactions, they lose their mysterious grip over you. What was once an unconscious habit becomes a conscious choice. Self-awareness also softens self-judgment. When you are unaware, you tend to label yourself harshly for every emotion you feel. You call yourself weak for being afraid, lazy for being tired, or broken for feeling pain. But awareness shows you the truth. Emotions are natural responses, not verdicts about your worth. You begin to treat yourself with patience instead of punishment. This patience opens the door to real transformation because you are no longer fighting yourself. You become your own ally rather than your own enemy. With this allyship, your inner strength grows quietly but steadily. As your awareness deepens, you also start to feel your own boundaries and your own inner landscape more clearly. You see where your energy rises and where it drains. You see which habits nourish you and which harm you. This clarity allows you to make decisions that protect your well-being. You begin to align your daily actions with your deeper values. This alignment is a source of tremendous strength because you are no longer split between what you do and who you are. Every step you take becomes more intentional. Even in small choices, you feel a sense of direction. And direction brings confidence. The practice of cultivating self-awareness does not require grand gestures. It begins with small moments, pausing before you react, noticing your breath when tension builds, naming the emotion you are feeling instead of suppressing it, listening to your inner dialogue with curiosity. Each of these small acts is like polishing a mirror. Over time, the mirror becomes clear and you can see yourself fully. This clear seeing is not always comfortable because it reveals truths you may have ignored, but it is liberating. It allows you to stop living on autopilot and start living with purpose. This inner clarity also changes how you relate to others. When you understand your own patterns, you become less reactive to the patterns of those around you. You recognize when someone's anger is about them, not about you. You recognize when your own hurt is being projected outward. This insight creates healthier relationships, less conflict, and more empathy. You become a steady presence in the lives of others because you are learning to be a steady presence within yourself. People sense this steadiness and trust it. With self-awareness, you stop fearing your inner world. You start to explore it like a vast landscape. You discover hidden strengths, forgotten dreams, and old wounds ready to heal. You realize that what you were running from inside was never as large as it appeared. The act of looking directly at it shrinks its size. Even the heaviest emotion becomes lighter when it is seen with compassion and curiosity. This is why self-awareness is not just a mental exercise, but a transformative practice. It does not change who you are. It reveals who you have been all along beneath the layers of fear and doubt. Each day you spend cultivating awareness strengthens the foundation on which your life stands. It turns chaos into clarity, fear into understanding, and confusion into direction. Over time, you begin to feel less like a passenger and more like the driver of your own inner life. This feeling of being centered and awake cannot be shaken easily. It becomes a quiet power that you carry with you into every situation, no matter how challenging. And this quiet power reminds you again and again that you are bigger than what is bothering you inside. Pain and doubt are not who you are, they are experiences passing through you. They may feel permanent when they arrive, but they are like visitors knocking at your door. If you open the door and invite them to stay forever, they begin to feel like your identity. If you learn to see them as temporary guests, you can allow them to come and go without losing your sense of self. This is one of the deepest truths you can realize on your journey. The mind and the body experience countless states in a lifetime, but the awareness that notices them remains constant. That awareness is you. It is larger than the pain, larger than the doubt, larger than anything passing through it. When pain rises, the first instinct is to either fight it or escape from it. Yet fighting it often makes it stronger, and running from it often makes it follow you. Seeing it clearly, without labeling yourself as the pain, is where freedom begins. This is not about denying the hurt. It is about understanding that hurt is not the full story of who you are. You can be in pain and still hold love. You can feel doubt and still act with courage. You can feel fear and still take a step forward. This ability to hold both the experience and the awareness of it is what gives you strength. Imagine a clear sky with storm clouds rolling across it. The clouds can be dark and heavy, but the sky itself does not become the storm. In the same way, your essence does not become the pain or the doubt. The emotions and thoughts are weather. They form, they move, they dissolve. The sky remains. When you remember this, even in moments of intense struggle, you create a gap between the experience and your identity. In that gap lies your freedom. In that gap lies your power to respond, to breathe, to choose. Doubt has a special way of disguising itself as truth. It whispers in your mind, telling you what you cannot do, what you will never be, and why you are not enough. But doubt is not a prophecy. It is simply a thought shaped by fear or old conditioning. If you treat it as truth, it will limit you. If you treat it as a passing experience, it will lose its power. You can acknowledge doubt without surrendering to it. You can recognize it without letting it decide your life. This is what it means to be bigger than the doubt inside you. You see it, you breathe with it, and then you act according to your deeper values, not according to the voice of fear. Pain also carries its own kind of wisdom. When you no longer identify with it, you can begin to hear what it is trying to teach you. Sometimes pain points to an area that needs healing. Sometimes it shows you where you are out of alignment with your true self. Sometimes it simply asks you to slow down and care for yourself. When you treat pain as a messenger rather than an enemy, it becomes less frightening. You do not have to like it or want it, but you can respect its role as part of your growth. This respect softens resistance, and when resistance softens, healing begins. Practicing this perspective requires patience. It is not something you can fake. It grows through repeated moments of awareness. Each time you feel a strong emotion, pause and remind yourself, this is an experience, not my identity. Each time doubt tries to convince you that you are weak, remind yourself, I am the one noticing this thought, not the thought itself. This simple shift, repeated again and again, builds a quiet but unshakable inner strength. Over time you become less reactive, more grounded, and more compassionate toward yourself. As this practice deepens, you will notice that your inner world becomes less threatening. Pain may still arise, but it feels lighter. Doubt may still visit, but it passes more quickly. The grip of old patterns loosens. You begin to feel a steady core inside you, a core that does not change no matter what moves through it. This is your true self. It is not defined by victories or failures, not shaken by praise or criticism, not limited by temporary emotions. It is the stable ground beneath the shifting waves of your inner life. From this place of knowing, you start to live differently. You stop fearing emotions and begin exploring them. You stop avoiding difficult conversations and begin facing them with courage. You stop believing every dark thought and start questioning its truth. Life does not become free of pain or doubt, but you become free of being defined by them. You live from a deeper place, and that deeper place gives you resilience, clarity, and peace. Even when circumstances around you are uncertain, even when old fears return, this awareness will remain with you. It will guide you like a steady flame in a dark room. It will remind you that you are not the flame's flicker, but the light itself. And each time you return to this truth, you step further into your strength and further away from identifying with pain and doubt. This is how you come to understand that you are bigger than what is bothering you inside. Stillness and mindful breathing are not signs of escape or weakness. They are living tools that reveal your vastness and resilience. When life presses in from all sides, the mind reacts with noise, planning, and resistance. In those moments, your breath becomes shallow, your body tightens, and your thoughts race. But if you choose to pause, if you draw in a deep breath and release it slowly, you create an opening inside yourself. In that opening lies strength. This is not strength built on tension or control, but on presence. Presence does not fight the storm, it stands in the middle of it with clarity. It allows you to experience the fullness of the moment without being overwhelmed by it. Every breath you take is a chance to return home to yourself. You inhale and feel life entering. You exhale and feel tension leaving. With each cycle, you grow more aware of the gap between you and your thoughts, between you and your emotions. The more you breathe with awareness, the more you notice the steady rhythm beneath all the chaos. That rhythm is the foundation of your resilience. It is not something you must create, it is already there, waiting for you to notice it. In the quiet space of breathing, you are reminded that your life force is stronger than any temporary problem. Stillness is a practice of listening. It is not about shutting out the world or trying to stop your thoughts. It is about giving yourself permission to sit and notice what is truly happening within you. When you sit in stillness, your emotions rise to the surface like bubbles in clear water. You see them, you feel them, and you let them pass. This process shows you again and again that nothing inside you is permanent. Fear softens. Anger dissolves. Sadness shifts. You begin to experience yourself as the open space through which these emotions move. This recognition is deeply freeing because you no longer confuse your passing states with your permanent identity. With consistent practice, stillness and mindful breathing transform your nervous system. They slow your heart rate, ease your muscles, and calm your mind. More importantly, they show you how to be steady when the world feels unsteady. You develop a patience that does not depend on external circumstances. You begin to trust yourself because you have built an inner anchor. This anchor does not erase challenges, but it gives you the strength to meet them with clarity. People who cultivate stillness often appear calm on the outside, but the real power is happening within. They have learned to be at home with themselves even in difficult moments. When you live this way, your sense of self expands. You begin to feel a quiet confidence that does not rely on applause or achievement. You stop measuring your worth by how busy you are or how quickly you solve your problems. You realize that stillness itself is an action, a kind of inner training that sharpens your mind and deepens your spirit. In that space, you can hear your intuition more clearly. You can recognize your true priorities and values. Decisions become simpler because they are rooted in clarity rather than confusion. This practice also strengthens your compassion. When you are still and breathing, you see your own struggles with tenderness. You realize how hard you have been on yourself. This awareness softens your heart and makes it easier to be patient with others. As your compassion grows, your connections deepen. You stop reacting to others from a place of defensiveness and start responding from a place of understanding. This shift can transform relationships, workplaces, and communities because your energy changes from tension to presence. Stillness and mindful breathing are available to you anywhere. You do not need special conditions to practice them. You can pause in the middle of a crowded room, close your eyes for a moment, and breathe. You can sit quietly before a meeting or after an argument. You can take a deep breath while walking, cooking, or waiting. Each breath is a chance to step back into your true size, your true depth. With each pause, you reinforce the message to yourself: I am bigger than this moment. I am larger than this discomfort. I am the one who breathes it in and lets it go. As you grow more comfortable with stillness, life begins to slow down in the best way. You see beauty where you once saw only stress. You feel gratitude where you once felt only pressure. You become more deliberate with your words and actions. Even your posture changes as your body remembers how to relax into its own presence. This is not a sudden transformation, but a steady unveiling of the resilience you already possess. In time, you begin to realize that the power of stillness and mindful breathing is not only about calming down, but about waking up. It wakes you up to the truth that you are not your reactions, not your doubts, not your pain. You are the space that holds all of it. And in that space lives a strength beyond anything you imagined. Every breath becomes a bridge to that strength. Every moment of stillness becomes a reminder that your true self is vast, steady, and unshaken. And this is why, when you choose to cultivate stillness and breathe with awareness, you discover that you are bigger than what is bothering you inside. As we reach the end of this journey together, remember that everything you have heard today points back to one truth. You are far greater than the noise inside you. Your doubts, your fears, your pain, your storms, they are only passing guests in the house of your spirit. What stays is your awareness, your resilience, your power to choose. Each breath, each act of stillness, each moment of courage brings you closer to your true self. Walk away from this moment, not with pressure but with confidence. Not with fear but with a quiet certainty that you can face what comes and rise above it. Trust your strength, honor your growth, and keep moving forward with patience and purpose. Good luck on every step of your path, and thank you for allowing these words to be part of your journey.